We're in front of the parliament that is being dissolved today after this shock announcement by the Socialist Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez to call for this snap election on July 23rd instead of December as originally scheduled. Of course, this comes off the back, as you were saying, of these terrible results that his party and his coalition got at the local election over the weekend, as we were covering. And just a reminder, out of the 9 regions they were holding, they lost 6 of them. And they also, out of the 5 biggest cities in the country, they don't run any of them anymore. And of course, Pedro Sanchez, with this shock announcement, no one saw that one coming, calling for this snap election in just 54 days. And he was saying, when he made this announcement yesterday morning, that he was taking responsibility for the results and that it was time now for the Spanish people to decide the path for the country.
Although yesterday's elections had a municipal and regional reach, the direction and message of the vote goes further. So as Prime Minister and also General Secretary of the Socialist Party, I directly assume the results, and I think it necessary to give a response and put under the scrutiny of the people's vote our democratic mandate.
Now, calling this snap election by Pedro Sanchez is quite controversial because a lot of people are saying, well, are you doing this for the country or for yourself, trying to limit damage after these terrible results in the local elections, not having to drag on until December, and try to savage a bit of his coalition. What he tries to do is give a bit of an electroshock to his left-wing coalition partners. There have been a lot of internal tensions there, try to get their house in order and say, look, let's get the bloc of the left together to kind of block the far right and the conservatives, because that's what's happening on the other side. Another bit of the controversy is that now this election will be held in the middle of the summer holidays. That's never happened before. A lot of people already plan to go away. Schools will be shut, of course, because of the summer holidays. So that's quite controversial, and that could affect turnout. Now, for the Conservatives, of course, come out quite victorious from that local election. They have to also now design an electoral program, because a lot of their campaigning during the local election was being anti-Sanchez, but that didn't give much details on what they will run on now. So that will be one of their issues. And speaking yesterday, the leader of the Conservative, the Partido Popular, Alberto Feijóo, said that he was hoping to have a solid majority to lead the country.
The result from the regional election has expressed powerfully and clearly the great desire for change our society has. I congratulate my party for this exceptional result and urge it to work to confirm it and improve it in the general election. We enter this challenge with the best version of the Popular Party, united, calm and committed to our country.
So again, a big gamble by Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez calling this snap election. But it's very unclear who might get a majority, because for the Socialists, we have to see if his left-wing coalition partners and himself can form a bloc and basically call a message of saying, please vote for us to block the far right. Because for the Conservatives, they probably would have to make a deal with the far-right party Vox, that also did well in the local election, that the third party in the country. That could be controversial, breaking a taboo, certainly again in Spanish politics. So we'll have to see whether that affects some of the most moderate voters as well. So a lot of uncertainty still remaining on the table. But as you were saying in the intro, also the controversy that Spain is supposed to hold that EU rotating presidency from July 1st. And now with the election starting on July 23rd, there's some worries in Brussels and other European capitals that Spanish politics will kind of derail a bit of that presidency, and a lot of big reforms and plans that were for that presidency will not happen anymore. The official campaign starts on July 7th, but during this big, important 2 weeks of official campaign, Pedro Sanchez will be at a NATO summit in Lithuania, giving a speech at the European Parliament in Strasbourg. So you have all these events happening during the campaign here. So it will be an interesting exercise here. Certainly his foreign agenda has been one of his strengths for Pedro Sanchez, and we have some past experience with Emmanuel Macron having his presidential campaign last year while having the EU rotating presidency. So we'll have to see whether for Pedro Sanchez that plays well for him and gains him some voters. But certainly it's going to be tough for him after the result we saw in the local elections. But a lot of uncertainty whether each bloc can really get the majority. So we could have a bit of instability ahead.